Hello and welcome to the gaming section for Myvi OS1. In this section, we'll look at the 4 different ways you can get your game on. The first way is just by opening up your software center. There's some mini games that are built in. Just go into the games section. You can click and install any one of these games. Some of the games you may want to try is Super Tux Kart. This is like a Mario Kart style racing game. A simple way to get out of games is if you have another app running, you can hold Alt and press Tab and just tab over to that app. That'll take you back to your normal desktop. You can then scroll to the bottom, right click on the game and close out of it. Another way to do it is I'm going to hit the hot corner, go back into the game. You can also simply tap your super key. If we just tap our super key, that'll show us our overview. And then we can go into the little X here and close out of that. And then we'll return back to our normal desktop. You can also press the close shortcut by pressing and holding super and pressing the letter C, and that'll close out of the game as well. There's also Zero AD if you like real-time strategy games where you can actually build up a civilization. Another fun game is Unvanquished, which is an online multiplayer. So if we type Unvanquished, this is a first-person shooter game. You can choose alien or human. Another application I'll show you, it's not really a game, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's called Stellarium. Stellarium is basically an application where you can take a look at space and different planets. Okay, here we are in Stellarium. Let's go on the left side. We'll select location. Let's go somewhere where it's nighttime. Okay, there we go. So we can look up at the sky. You have some lenses on the top right side if you want to switch between lenses. It's basically like having a telescope built in. And let's go at the bottom here and we can enable some stuff. So if you want to enable the grid of the universe, you can do it like that. There's 2 different types of grids. Let's turn on deep sky objects. Let's show all planets. You can even turn on constellation art to show you all the constellations in the sky. Now what's amazing about this program is you can just zoom right out. So let's locate a planet. Okay, so there's the sun, there's Uranus, there's Mercury, there's Mars. Let's just zoom in. As you can see, you can just keep zooming, and it's moving. So we're gonna go here and pause space and time, and there's Mars. So we're looking directly at Mars, and I guess those are Mars's moons. Let's go take a look at Jupiter. Here's Jupiter. That's Jupiter. So you can get lost in this program. You can turn on constellation art and you can see like shooting stars. So pretty cool program. You can spend a ton of time just learning about the universe. And this is an amazing application. It is actually available on iOS and Android, but on those versions, you have to pay for add-ons. There's ads built into the game. On Myvi OS, you get the full version for free. Just install it and go ahead and launch that. Okay, now let's take things up a notch and take a look at Steam. Now Steam comes pre-installed in Myvi OS. So you'll see the icon at the bottom, just click it. It'll do an update, and after that you can log in. So there's a lot of popular games that are actually natively supported, like Dota 2, you can just click it and install it like normal. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is a very popular online multiplayer shooter. And there's even games like War Thunder, which is like an airplane game. You can go ahead and install that as well. Now you'll see we have Cyberpunk 2077 here, but we can't actually install it because that's only available on Windows. If you click this little penguin here, that'll narrow down your gaming library to which games are natively installable. But don't worry, there's a way you can play those Windows games through game streaming. Now technically you can play games natively through what's called a compatibility layer. It's called Proton. It's developed by Valve. However, Proton was specifically developed for the Steam Deck, which is a handheld gaming platform. In our experience, Proton can be quite glitchy on anything that's not the Steam Deck. Even on the Steam Deck, it can be glitchy at times. We recommend you just stay away from Proton. You don't want to run your games through any sort of a compatibility layer because they won't give you a smooth user experience. The best way to play Windows games is through GeForce Now. This is a game streaming platform. Essentially, you're going to log into a server in the cloud which has Windows installed, and you can then log into your Steam profile, your GOG profile, or your Epic Games profile, and then get access to your games through that and stream them to your computer. This way you don't have to download anything, install or update, or deal with graphics cards and graphics drivers. You just log into the service and you're ready to game. Here's how you can pair a Bluetooth device. Let's pair up this PS5 controller. We're going to hold these 2 buttons to put it into pairing mode. You'll see the blue lights are flashing there. Then switch over to your desktop, go on the top right side, click the drop down menu, go into Bluetooth settings, and your device will show up here. You can click it to pair it up. You can see it's connected now. We just got a warning of low battery. That's going to be the controller. If you want to see the controller's battery, go into your settings and go under power. You see wireless control. So yeah, it's only at 5%. I'm going to charge up the controller. Okay, we've got our PlayStation 5 controller paired up. If we take a look at Bluetooth connections, you'll see it just shows up as wireless controller. Now the native support is quite good because it actually has the trackpad working correctly. However, you can enable more features. As long as Steam is open, you can go into Steam settings and you'll go into controller. If you want to use your controller in Steam, you'll want to go to general controller settings. You'll see here now you can enable PlayStation configuration support. If you go back, this will actually enable more functionality out of your PlayStation controller. But keep in mind, one thing we've noticed is that it actually makes the trackpad act a little bit weird when Steam is connected to the controller. If you close out of Steam, it goes back to normal. So the native support seems to work better with the trackpad. But if you're using the PlayStation controller through Steam, and if you select the left stick, so I just clicked on the left stick, we now have an on-screen keyboard and things like that. So there's a few more features that Steam enables. You just have to enable PlayStation configuration support. You can also go into desktop configuration and that'll allow you to actually move your joysticks up and down to scroll through things. So if I click back, right now my right stick is moving the actual controller. If I press the right trigger, I can actually move windows around. And so you get a little bit more functionality when you go into Steam, but really if you're not going to be playing through Steam, you don't have to have it open. On GeForce Now, it'll just detect the controller natively and you can use your controller to play through GeForce Now. So let's close out of this now. We're going to click Steam at the top, make sure we exit that out. And now let's hop onto GeForce Now. This is the cloud streaming platform. I just pulled up a really good video that Steve from Gamers Nexus did. He compares all the current game streaming platforms and their performance. Now with game streaming, basically what's happening is the server is streaming the video content to your computer, and then you're streaming your controller inputs back to the server. Typically in a video, it's just like a one-way stream. The server's gonna send you a video, like when we're watching a video on YouTube like we're doing here. Basically our computer's downloading that video file off of a server and we're then watching. But with a game stream, it's a two-way stream. You're downloading the video of the actual game playing and then the server is waiting for your controller inputs to be streamed back. So performance is a big deal, and the time it takes between when you press a button and when the character in the game actually responds is called latency. So Steve does a latency test and he shows that GeForce Now is by far the fastest platform.
So here's the bottom line of the latency numbers before we get into the many other important aspects of streaming. That would be things like the quality of service, the game's availability, the billing options, whether they want your card up front or not. We'll talk about that. But in the Surge 2, GeForce Now with the 1080C configuration.
Okay, so here's a chart. You can see GeForce Now has the lowest latency. So the lower this number, the better. That means how quickly the server will respond to your inputs. You can see GeForce Now is by far the fastest one, and PlayStation Now is second last, and Xbox Cloud Gaming is the last place one. So this is why we chose GeForce Now. In our experience, we tried a bunch of gaming platforms. Not only is GeForce Now compatible through a web application, we have it pre-installed at the bottom. You can just click open and log in, but the performance is exceptional. Another thing you'll want to do is make sure you have the best connection possible. Now, GeForce Now will work no problem over Wi-Fi if you have a fast connection, but of course a wired connection is better. So before you launch your GeForce Now, you want to do a quick little test and make sure you have the best configuration. What I'll do is I'll show you my Wi-Fi speed right now, and I'll show you GeForce Now running no problem on Wi-Fi, but then I'll show you over a wired connection. You'll see you'll get even faster, significantly faster. So if you're taking gaming seriously, like you're doing any sort of competitive gaming, you'll definitely want to be on a hardwired connection. And that's very standard for any sort of a gamer that's taking things seriously. They want to have the best connection possible. Now the nice thing is your internet service provider is most likely going to put your modem in your living room right beside your TV. So if you are doing GeForce Now on your living room, you should have no problem plugging in a network cable from your modem directly into your Myvi exclusive. So what we'll do is we'll go to speedtest.net. So I'm on Wi-Fi right now. I'm getting 430 megabits per second down with a 12-second ping time. So that's pretty good. That's more than enough to game stream. However, I'm gonna hardwire it in and you'll see what the difference is. It's still significant. As fast as that is, there's a lot more performance left on the table when comparing Wi-Fi to a wired connection. Okay, here we are again. Now I've wired the system in. If you select the drop down menu, you can see we're on a wired connection and the Wi-Fi is off. Our ping dropped down to 9. Now we're getting like 870, 900. So we went from like 360 up to about 900 megabits per second. That's almost triple the speed. We have a ping time of 9 milliseconds now with down speed of 924, and that's almost triple the speed we were getting earlier. So for game streaming, you'll definitely want to stick with a wired connection, and as Steve from Gamers Nexus has showed, in most cases GeForce Now is the fastest platform. So combining GeForce Now with a wired connection is going to give you the best possible game streaming experience. And when it comes to the network cable, you want to use a category 7 cable. We'll have links on our websites to recommended cables. Okay, we're back on Wi-Fi. You can see we've selected our Wi-Fi network just like normal. We've got our PlayStation 5 controller all paired up. Let's hop on to GeForce Now. Now the nice thing about GeForce Now is it gives you access to multiple gaming platforms. So Epic Games, GOG, Steam. As long as you own your game, you can select the game and log into your account and pick up right where you left off. And again, like I said, you actually get to own your games. Some of the other gaming platforms, the game stays on that platform. So if you close your account or if you no longer have access, you lose that game. With GeForce Now, you can actually bring your Steam gaming library right into GeForce Now. So if you already own your games, you can play them on GeForce Now, or you can purchase your games after the fact. And if you decide to cancel your GeForce Now membership, you'll still keep your games. And GeForce Now does have a free version. The free version is going to give you 1 hour of playtime before it kicks you out. You can simply log back in. Sometimes you have to wait to get back into the game. Depending on what type of game it is. Story games like Cyberpunk tend to just log in right away. If it's an online multiplayer game, you usually will have to wait. If that's the type of game that you play, you'll probably want to get the premium version. Also, the premium version gives you access to ray tracing settings, so slightly better graphics on the premium version. And the nice thing is the stream is going to be done right through this web application. So no need to install anything, you just log in and pick up right where you left off. Let's hop onto Cyberpunk. We've got our controller already paired up. And as you can see, I can move my trackpad and actually select what I want to do with there. And I'm sitting at the computer, so I can just use the keyboard to log in and put in my credentials. When gaming in the living room, you can use Myvi Unity to control the computer. And of course, you have access to the keyboard as well. So if you pull this up, we're going to type Cyberpunk. And there you go, Cyberpunk shows up. So if you're in the living room and you're far away from the computer, you can just use your phone with Myvi Unity, combine that with a PlayStation 5 controller, and that gives you a great living room experience. In this game, like I said, typically you log in right away. Because it's a story game, it's not competitive. So you can just hop right in. I'm going to put in my password and we're right into the game. So it's very convenient, very user friendly. No need to install or download or do anything like that. Now one thing you want to check is your graphical settings. Because this is a game streaming service, obviously they're trying to save their bandwidth on the back end. So typically it'll be at medium or low settings, but we're going to crank everything to ultra. Now the nice thing is the server you're connected to is a very beefy Windows PC. So it's going to have most likely one of the latest RTX graphics cards, a ton of RAM. So significantly more power than what majority of people would have. In Cyberpunk specifically, you'll also want to go into video here, and you'll see they put a maximum frames per second. We're going to switch that up so we get the full FPS possible. So we can just crank everything all the way to ultra, and we're going to apply these changes, yes, and let's continue our game. Okay, here we are in Cyberpunk 2077, running on the Myvi exclusive through GeForce Now, and we're using our PlayStation 5 controller. Another nice thing about GeForce Now is it's cross-platform, so you can actually pick this up on another computer, another device. It's even available on mobile devices as well, like phones and tablets. So as you can tell with GeForce Now, even the free version and the PlayStation 5 controller, this is our most recommended way to play on your Myvi exclusive. This is going to give you the best possible user experience with the least amount of configurations and settings you'll have to mess with. You just log in, you can go to your graphics settings, make sure it's cranked up, and play your game. You don't even have to purchase the premium version if you're not looking to take things to the next level. You don't necessarily want to have competitive gaming, or you don't mind waiting a little bit or just getting an hour of playtime. The free version works great for most casual gamers. Once we're done, we can hold escape and you'll see it actually closes out of there. We can then hit quit game and we'll quit, and this will bring us right back to the main GeForce Now menu. If you don't want to close out of the game, but you just want to switch back to the desktop, just press and hold super and press down. That will bring you into a new workspace. You can do anything on your desktop, and then super and up brings you right back into the game. Okay, that's cloud streaming through GeForce Now. But what if you already have a Windows gaming PC and a library of games? You can actually stream the games from your Windows PC directly to your Myvi exclusive. Now for this feature to work, you do have to have an NVIDIA graphics card. There's another program that allows AMD graphics cards. If you take a look at our gaming section, we'll add that. That application is called Parsec. But today we're going to take a look at Moonlight. This is for NVIDIA cards. If you launch Moonlight, it's already pre-installed. This is going to actually connect to a NVIDIA gaming streaming PC. You can see we have our HP Omen, which has an RTX 3060 graphics card. Now on the Omen, we'll have to set up through GeForce Experience. Then we can come back to our Myvi exclusive, log in, and those games will be streamed directly to our Myvi exclusive. So let's go to the Windows PC and get set up real quick, and we'll come right back and get going from here. Okay, here we are at our Windows PC. You can see we've got the RTX graphics card. We do also have it hardwired into the network for the best possible performance. So to get set up, it won't actually show up in Moonlight. You have to open up GeForce Experience, go in your settings on the top right side, and you'll see under Shield on the left side, you're just going to switch this on. And that will actually enable Moonlight game streaming. And you can add games manually. So I've added Red Dead Redemption 2, which is here on this system. I also added Google Chrome. That way I can just log into Google Chrome on this computer if I need to actually make any changes on this system. I don't have to walk down to this system here. I can launch Chrome from Moonlight and I'll get access to the desktop and I can control anything from the Windows PC that way. Now, once you set this up the first time over your home network, you can actually do this through the cloud as well. So if you set up your Myvi and your Windows PC and pair them through Moonlight, you'll actually be able to, for example, take your Myvi exclusive to your office or somewhere else. They'll still stay paired and you can actually do it over the cloud. Here we are back on the Myvi. I'm gonna hit the super key, search for Moonlight. We'll open that up. You can see our HP Omen shows up. We're gonna click that. Please enter 3303 on your game streaming PC. Let's go back to the Windows PC and input that code. Here we are on the Windows PC. It says Shield is requesting, so we'll put 3303, hit connect. And those should be paired up now, and whatever games we have set in GeForce Experience will show up on the Myvi exclusive. Here we are back on the Myvi. You can see the lock is now gone. Let's select our HP Omen. So Cyberpunk was added automatically. We did have to add Red Dead Redemption 2 manually, and I added Google Chrome as well. You'll see that button on the Windows PC in the GeForce Experience app where you can select add. You'll go to the actual application itself in the file system, and you can manually add additional programs. We already looked at Cyberpunk, so let's take a look at Red Dead Redemption 2. But before that, let's go into our settings. You'll see resolution FPS. Let's make this like 1440p, 120 FPS, and go to maybe like 100 megabits per second. You can play with this back and forth and see what works well for you depending on your internet connection. Let's try those settings there, and let's launch Red Dead Redemption 2. And here it says start select L1, R1. So if you hold the start and select buttons on the controller and L1 and R1, that'll kick you out of the game. You can also hold Control, Alt, Shift, and Q on the keyboard. So here I am logged into the Windows PC already. It brought us right away. I can switch through our multiple workspaces on Myvi. So here we are in Myvi OS, here we are in Windows. We can also right click on the desktop in Windows, go to display settings, and you can see we actually have it set to 4K on that screen. And scale 200% because that's actually a 1080p screen. It does allow you to put a higher screen resolution. So right now Windows thinks it's connected to a virtual screen. So I set it to 2160 with 200% scaling. Now the controls show the actual Xbox buttons, but it's simple enough to figure out. They're very similar controllers. Let's go into our settings here. Let's go into graphics. You can see we have it set to 4K 2160, VSync is on. Okay, so I got most of everything cranked all the way up, and I have DLSS on. Since we have that RTX graphics card, we can take advantage of DLSS. And there we go, we're right about to get into a game. This game is streaming from the Windows PC. What I'll do is I'll run downstairs with the camera. I'll show you how the game is running on that computer, and that it is actually running through our home network. And here we are in Red Dead Redemption 2. This game is not natively supported on the Myvi exclusive at all, and we were definitely streaming it through our home network using Moonlight and an RTX graphics card on the other side. I'm also getting controller vibrations, so it does feel just like I'm playing the game natively right here.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's just leave the game running for a second. I'm going to run downstairs and show you the game running right here on the Windows PC so you can see the live stream happening in action. So there's the game running right there. I've got the controller connected. As you can see, I can move around. Everything's happening live. Now let's run downstairs to the Windows PC so you can see the stream happening. And there we go. This is the computer that's actually hosting the game right now. There we are in the exact same spot. Looks like it started raining. And this is now being streamed through our home network into the Myvi exclusive. Now, like I said, once you pair them up the first time, you can actually take your Myvi exclusive to your office or somewhere far away. It doesn't actually have to be over the home network, although of course it will work best, but you can do this through the cloud as well. So if you've got a gaming PC at home, you can leave that somewhere where it doesn't need to be necessarily attended to, and you can stream those games to other devices using Moonlight. Another nice feature is that this is only an RTX 3060 graphics card. I've really cranked the graphics all the way up. With DLSS, it's smoothing it out, but if you listen, there's a lot of fan noise right now. So by having this computer in the basement, we don't have to listen to that fan noise. If we were gaming right here, we'd hear that fan noise the whole time. Since we're streaming to our Myvi, the Myvi is silent. All the fan noise is right here on this computer, and we can enjoy the game elsewhere without hearing any of that fan noise. Once you're done, you can hold start and select and L1 and R1 to exit your game. You can also press Control Alt Shift and Q. So I'll do that now, Control Alt Shift and Q. And just like that, it exits out of the game and brings us right back to our Myvi desktop. The game is still running on the Windows PC. If you hit this little X button right here, it'll actually close the game on that Windows PC there. And I'll show you why I have Chrome set up. So let's say I wanted to log into that Windows computer to change some settings or something. I don't want to actually launch a game. I can hit Chrome, and what that'll do is it'll log us into that Windows PC and open up Google Chrome. Starts a handshake. Here we are back on the Windows computer. I can then close out of that, and I'm now on the Windows desktop. So if I need to change some settings or do anything, I can just open up Chrome. So you want to set up Chrome, or maybe like this is Windows Explorer, which is the file manager. You may want to have those set up as an app through Moonlight, and that way you don't have to run back and forth to the Windows PC if you want to change some settings. Again, once we're done, Control Alt Shift and Q, and it'll bring us right back into Myvi OS. And there we go, we're all done. We can hit the little X on Chrome to close out of that. And that's Moonlight, a game streaming application you can do over your home network if you already have a Windows gaming PC with an RTX graphics card. One thing to take note of after you close out of a Moonlight stream is you'll see caffeine will get stuck in the on position, and that'll prevent your screen from turning off. You can actually still lock the screen if you want to just step away right away and hit the lock button, and that will actually get fixed if you log out from the system and log back in. Caffeine will return to normal, or if you power off the system and turn it back on, caffeine will also return back to normal. Okay, now let's take a look at how you can get Myvi set up for gaming in your living room. Step one, of course, turn off the computer. Drop the menu top right side, power off. We're gonna now power off the system. Now here we are around back. We're gonna go ahead and start unplugging these cables. So we're gonna unplug the HDMI. That's the webcam. If you've got the trackpad, you wanna unplug that from the USB as well. We're gonna unplug the power cable. Now this is just a standard PC power cable. So if you have any extra cables like this, you can actually leave one in your living room. That way you want to take this cable with you, you can just leave it here. We'll leave the monitor plugged in. It'll make things easier next time when we're reconnecting it. You'll also want to make sure that this Wi-Fi antenna is actually extended all the way out and it's not touching any of the sides. So it's right there in the middle and extended all the way out. That's going to be for your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connection. So the controller will actually pair directly with this antenna here. Now to get the monitor off, the easiest way to do it is to put your hand underneath this neck piece. Just pull back a little bit to give it a little bit of slack. Then you can wiggle off these steel safety cables. And there you go, there's both the safety cables off. Then grasp this neck piece firmly, lift the screen, and place it aside. And now in just a couple of steps, we've got our Myvi ready for the living room, and we'll go ahead and take our controller to the living room as well. And here we are in the living room. As you can see, we've already got an HDMI cable, a power cable, and since we're going to be doing some game streaming and we want the best performance possible, a network cable connected as well. Now most internet service providers are going to put your internet gateway in the living room, so it should be quite convenient to connect a network cable. If you plan on switching between media mode and desktop mode frequently, we recommend you do the same. So have the cables ready, and that's going to make your life a whole lot easier and more convenient. Okay, now let's bring our Myvi over and plug it in. As you can see, Myvi fits very nicely in most living room consoles. We're going to start with our HDMI cable, then we'll plug in the power cable, and we'll also hardwire in for our network connection. You want to also make sure that the Wi-Fi antenna is extended all the way out and not touching the sides. You may want to even slide it in just a little bit just to make sure it's not touching the metal lip at the bottom here. That's going to give you the best Wi-Fi and Bluetooth performance. Now we can go ahead and slide our system in the living room console. There we go. Fits very nicely. Then when you start it up, you want to actually use your physical keyboard to log into your user account. Once you're in, you can then switch over to Myvi Unity, control the system from your phone. That's going to give you the keyboard and mouse controls, as well as the controller to actually play your games. So with the phone and controller, you can navigate the entire system. You'll just need to use your physical keyboard for the first time login. Once you're in, you can then switch over to your phone when Myvi Unity pairs up. And if the screen turns off or you have your auto lock set up, you can still use your phone to put in your password and get back in. It's just going to be the first time login, you'll need the physical keyboard. Now the keyboard is not Bluetooth. There's actually a USB wireless adapter inside of the computer. So it doesn't have necessarily the longest range. You may need to be a little bit closer for that first time login. But once you're in, you can then switch over to your phone. Okay, now let's go ahead and turn on the system. I'm going to switch to the correct HDMI input here. And there's our login screen. We're going to go ahead and grab our physical keyboard and type in our password to get into our account. We're now in, and our Myvi Unity is already paired up, so I can hit that top left corner and pull up our activities overview. Remember, if your phone doesn't pair up right away, just turn your Wi-Fi off on your phone, wait a few seconds, turn it back on, or restart your phone, and that should establish a connection. I can search for GeForce Now. There's our GeForce Now application. And let's go ahead and turn on our controller as well. There's our controller all paired up now. Now before you do anything, you want to tap with 2 fingers. That's going to pull up our right click menu. We'll go into display settings. So it is at 4K. What I can do is I can actually hit 200% scaling and hit apply. Now that's going to make everything a lot easier to see. We're going to keep those changes. So we're now at 2160p, which is 4K, and 60 Hertz at 200% scaling. And we'll also want to change our sound input, so we'll select the drop-down menu in the top right side. We can select HDMI, as well as we'll go to the, I have 5.1 sound, so I can hit the 5.1 sound output there. We're now logged into Steam. I'm just going to close out of that. Now there's a little button on the top right side called Big Picture Mode. If I tap on Big Picture Mode, here's our Big Picture Mode now. So this is an excellent mode for if you're going to be in the living room. And our Steam setup has actually been automatically enabled, so I can then move the controller just like that, go into settings and change things. This gives you a very console style experience. Let's tap on library. There's our library of games. You can install new games or do any updates or anything you gotta do from here. I'm gonna go to the top and just exit out of Big Picture mode. We'll exit Big Picture. That brings us back to our standard desktop. And now let's go play a game. We're going to grab Cyberpunk on GeForce Now. To make sure Steam is fully closed, select it in the top panel on the drop-down menu and hit exit. And remember, we've also got the trackpad working on the PS5 controller. You don't need to have Steam open or anything. This is just a native support, and the trackpad seems to work better when it's connected natively. We're going to grab Cyberpunk and launch that game. We can then go to continue. And now it's going to ask us for our password, so we can pull up our keyboard on the phone, type in our password. And there we are in Cyberpunk 2077. We're streaming this on GeForce Now through our wired connection. You want to double check your graphics settings. Like I said, GeForce Now always tends to favor low settings. I guess they're just trying to save bandwidth. I'm going to put that to ultra, go high. Also, if you go under video, you'll see there is a maximum frames per second. It caps at 45, so you can turn that off, and that'll give you a lot more frames per second. We're going to hit apply, go back, and now we can continue the game. Alright, once we're done, we can go quick game. We'll select that, exit out of the game, and we're put right back into our GeForce Now menu. And we can close out of that, and we're right back on our desktop. So as you can see, GeForce Now works great in the living room. You want to make sure you're on a hardwired connection, have your Myvi Unity paired up so you can use your phone to put in passwords or control the keyboard or mouse. And you've got the PS5 control all paired up and working nicely. And when you are in media mode, remember that hot corner is extremely useful. So you just move your mouse to the top left side and you can then look for any applications and type anything like that. So the hot corner does come very in handy with the combination of Myvi Unity with the phone and the hot corner enabled. And this is great if you want to also show some presentations, or if you've got this in an office setting and you want to maybe show some videos you're working on or something like that, you can plug it into the TV and use your Myvi Unity to control the system. And that's basically it. That's how you can game in your living room using your Myvi exclusive with the controller paired up and Myvi Unity to control the system. I can then click on the top right side and go to power off to turn it off. And also remember that when the computer locks automatically, Myvi still stays connected, so you can unlock the computer from the phone. You'll only have to use your physical keyboard for that first time login. Once you're logged in, you can control everything from the phone. Okay, so that's it for gaming. We've went through native gaming. We've went through gaming through Steam. We took a look at GeForce Now. We also took a look at Moonlight game streaming. And now we just explored how you can set up Myvi in your living room to get that living room gaming experience. See you in the next section.